And we are here at the Walter Pyramid for the 26th annual US Sumo Open. Packed house in the building, about 4,500 fans, lots of thrills, lots of upsets, and some really historical moments at this 2026 US Sumo Open competition. A lot of the smaller guys defeating bigger opponents in these matchups. And we'll start out with the men's lightweight division. A lot of competitors here, so the field had to be whittled down to the top 8 for the quarterfinals early in the day. The audience still hadn't really come in, and these guys were already tumbling off the stage. Lots of action, lots of drama. One of the top contenders was last year's 4th place finisher, Mahmoud from Uzbekistan. Still a teenager, he came in even stronger this year, defeating larger opponents with a variety of techniques, showing a lot of strength and speed here. Great position by him to take down much heavier and taller opponents. Mahmoud lost in the semifinals, but he did go on to the 3rd place match where he did defeat his opponent for the bronze medal. So step up from last year's 4th place finish. Another top contender, originally from Azerbaijan, now representing Canada, is Namig. Namig has many medals years ago at the European Championships and World Championships. Very slender frame compared to most sumo wrestlers, but great technique and dexterity here. He liked to use these throws, taking down opponent after opponent. Again, going for the left hand outside grip on the belt and throwing down his opponents with that leverage point. And he was undefeated throughout most of the competition. Another top competitor was Hana from Mongolia, also doing very well in the earlier rounds. He did lose one match, but that did not eliminate him because it was in the earlier rounds before the single elimination quarterfinals and semifinals. So still in contention, even with one loss early on. He did go on into the semifinals, and eventually he moved on to the final match against Namig. So it's Canada, originally Azerbaijan, versus Hana from Mongolia, and very close call there. Hana stays on his feet. Namig tumbles out just a split second before, so amazing win for the gold medal match. Gold goes to Hana, silver to Namig, and the bronze medal to the teenage Uzbekistan fighter Mahmoud. And the men's middleweight was pretty spectacular. 3 of the competitors had previous gold medal success at the US Sumo Open. Last year's champion was this man in the middle, Maxim from Russia. Not only did Maxim have a previous gold, but Edibo on the left there, originally competing for Hungary, but now for the United States, is trying to get a gold again at the US Sumo Open. You can see him flinging opponents left and right. Great position, stays low, great speed to twist his opponents out of the way, and he did quite well this time as well. You can see the technique and the athleticism by Edibo. He went against Nomin from Mongolia, but Nomin managed to take him down with a little bit of a softer move there, and Nomin was dominant. In fact, he was undefeated throughout most of the tournament, but finally he hurt his ankle with that victory, and unfortunately, even though he was undefeated and won every match to this point, he had to sit out. He was pretty badly injured and was not able to finish his last match, which ultimately cost him the gold medal. This man, Maxim, last year's gold medal champion from Russia, showing some great technique here, very relaxed in the competition. Surprisingly, he did lose one match to Danny here, who has a great thrusting spotty attack. Danny was not expected to medal, but he beat this Russian opponent who consistently wins gold at many tournaments. Amazing barrage there from Danny for an incredible, unexpected upset victory. It didn't faze Maxim, though. He kept going, and despite that one loss, he continued to rack up win after win, and ultimately, he faced Edibo here. You can see Edibo getting underneath, trying to lift Maxim, but Edibo goes down just a split second before as Maxim is flying through the air. So Maxim, with one loss, is supposed to face Nomin. Unfortunately, Nomin cannot compete due to injury, and Maxim wins that, end the tournament. 2 years in a row, Maxim from Russia gets the gold medal. Nomian with the silver, and Edibo with the bronze. The men's light heavyweight division featured a couple guys who had previously won the gold medal, but only one foreigner, this man Vlater with the reddish tights. So a great chance for some Americans to do well. A lot of intense matches here among the light heavyweight contenders. One man who stepped up, known for his powerlifting, is Jimmy there on the left. Did really well and beat most of his opponents. You can see the power once he locks up, forces out his opponent there. He ended up getting the bronze medal. This man, Emilio, had previously won the gold medal at the US SUMO Open several years ago, and you can see his great technique and balance. He likes to do the thrusting attack. And when he faced Jimmy, his training partner here, he actually pushed and then did the pull down. Jimmy a little off balance, goes down for the bronze medal. Emilio still in contention, and he had to go against, for his last match, this man Vlater from Venezuela. Venezuela represented by Vlater on the right there. You can see with great position against several different opponents. Here he is against Jimmy. You can see he gets a little bit lower, gets underneath and forces out him. Just great positioning overall in every match by Vlater. He was undefeated the last time he did the US SUMO Open, and he won the gold medal. Let's see if he can do it again in the final match in this division. On the left, Emilio. On the right, Vlater. And Vlater does a quick pull down. You can see Emilio going down quickly. Vlater with the gold medal. Emilio goes for the silver medal in this tournament. So there it is. Gold for Vlater from Venezuela, silver for Emilio, and Jimmy gets bronze. Moving right along to the men's heavyweight division, a lot of strong contenders here, many of whom competed before at the US SUMO Open. One of the big stories of the day was this man Zorig from Mongolia, had a successful Japanese pro sumo career, and this was the first time he's competing in a sumo match after moving from Japan. Early in the competition, a lot of strong matches here, a lot of push-out techniques. This man Matthew, almost 600 pounds, nudging out opponents with just a couple pushes there. Very dominant against many of his opponents. Largest opponent at the US SUMO Open this year. Now Zorig had to fight against a lot of challenges. He was not in good health condition. He had lost almost 50 pounds, and he weighed in at only 257 pounds, basically at the lower light heavyweight division, but he decided to go in the heavyweight competition, and he was not at full power, doing the best he could with limited training. Going against a man well over twice his size here, Matthew on the left at almost 600 pounds, Zorig at barely over 250, and you can see the technique there by Zorig for the victory. Definitely a fan favorite with that victory. Staying low against larger opponents, getting his head inside, using his legs to his advantage there. He has to work with his dexterity and technique to beat these larger opponents, and of course a great reaction every time he wins from the fans. People love to see that display of a smaller guy taking down a bigger guy, which we actually see a lot in this tournament. See the technique there by Zorig getting behind his opponent. And he had lost one match earlier, so he had to face Angel. They were tied. This is a playoff match to see who will win the gold medal. Angel did very well up to this point. Zorig trying to stay low. You can definitely see the size differential even here, but Zorig again getting underneath, forcing Angel back, who hangs on heroically at the edge. But Zorig breathes a sigh of relief. You can see he's exhausted there after beating an array of much larger opponents, and he does get the gold medal. A lot to be expected of him, still relatively young, and we'll see him again, I'm sure, at the US SUMO Open next time. So the gold medal in the heavyweight goes to Zorig, silver for Angel, and bronze for Big Matthew. Another highlight of the US Sumo Open was the presence of former Sekiwake Ichinojo. For the third year in a row, he served as a special guest at the US Sumo Open, greeting the fans, as well as being the head judge, making calls and discussing with the officials whenever there was controversy surrounding a particular match. Besides being head judge, Ichinojo also awarded again the Ichinojo Fighting Spirit Prize, took photos with fans, threw out some swag, and at the very end, he also met a lot of the fans for autographs and photo sessions. So another big highlight again of the US Sumo Open. Former Sekiwake, one of the greatest living sumo legends from pro sumo in Japan, Ichinojo. And finally, the last part of the day, the open weight competition was held. with about 25 competitors from all the different weight divisions going head-to-head. Amazing upsets with smaller guys beating some of their larger foes in this incredible upset-filled competition. You could see heavyweight defeat there as Angel gets taken down by the lightweight Jack. Angel's brother Gilberto is a heavyweight taken down by the lightweight Namig. So a lot of smaller guys beating Goliaths. You can see a lightweight guy beating a light heavyweight guy here as Namig beats Vlater, the gold medalist in the light heavy. And Mahmoud at 171 pounds facing 562-pound Matthew. Last year in the open weight they met and Matthew won, but this time 171 pounds, Mahmoud takes down with a great maneuver there his opponent, who's about 3.5 times his size. Incredible win there for Mahmoud, moving on to the quarterfinals. In fact, the quarterfinalists, there were no heavyweights. This has never happened before. Normally the open weight is won by heavyweights, and there's one light heavyweight there, Vlater, 3 middleweights, and 4 lightweights in the open weight quarterfinals. Nothing like this, not even close, has ever happened. It's often all heavyweights, or at least 6 or 7 out of 8. Back in 2002, at 231 pounds, Apu Spensky is the lightest guy, he's from Estonia, ever to win the men's open weight. But in this competition, the 4 semifinalists were all much less than that. In the quarterfinals, Maxime from the middleweight takes down the lightweight Mahmoud. In one of the other quarterfinal matches here, we see Edebo at 208 pounds taking down his opponent, who is 214 pounds. And we ended up with 4 semifinalists, namely Edebo at 208, Maxime at 209, Jack at 186, Namig at 187. And you can see Namig on the left there taking on Maxime, 187 versus 209. These guys have fought many times, even over a decade ago in the European Championships. Incredible head-to-head record. You can see Namig underneath with that left-hand grip that he favors, going for the throw, and he beats the Russian as Maxime goes to the 3rd place. And the final match of the day was Namig for the gold medal, but he gets beat by Edebo. An incredible upset. Edebo at 208 pounds is the lightest guy ever to win the gold medal at the open weight division of the US Sumo Open. This has never been done before. Normally Edebo competes at the lightweight at 187, but he didn't want to cut weight for this competition, so he went middleweight, and there he is, gold medal, 208 pounds, Namig at 187 and Maxime at 209 pounds. So the 3 medalists in the open weight were all in the 200-pound range, unheard of before in a competition of this quality. And the fans loved it. Incredible sellout crowd again at the 2026 US Sumo Open. See you next time.